everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Crazy Stupid Marketing Show. The show where we talk about all the crazy stupid stuff that people do in marketing and how you cannot do that. Now, as I say that, I think it's important for us to define what crazy and stupid means on this show, because what I really don't want people to do is start off by either being very judgy of themselves or being very defensive about the concepts of crazy and stupid, being like, no, I'm not doing crazy, stupid stuff. That would be totally irresponsible. For the purpose of this show, crazy means the things that you do over and over again, expecting different results. Any of you marketers do any of that and expect something new to happen? And stupid being not related to a human being stupid. I don't believe that humans are stupid. I think we could do stupid things. Stupid being the things that we do that we have no idea why we're doing them. Someone else told us that we should, so we do it, but we don't know why, and we don't see it doing anything for us. So these are the things that we explore on the Crazy Stupid Marketing Show, and how we can spend less time doing those things and more time doing meaningful things that increase our energy, increase our success, increase our profits, increase all the things. We want to go up and not go down. So this is what we're all about here on the Crazy Stupid Marketing Show. And I just want to say quick hello to our friends who are already chiming in the audience. John, always good to see you, my friend. It's too bad that it's raining and cold in the UK, but we are having very UK weather in Alberta right now too. So we can align on that. And Mick is joining us. Hello. Today we're here to talk about something that I think is really a core behavior in alleviating crazy stupid marketing. And that is non-linear thinking. So very commonly in marketing, we can get caught up on this very linear thingy. If this, then that. If this, then that. And if I was going to estimate the percentage of time that was accurate, I would say it's 2%. 2% of the time where the thing we think causes the thing is actually the thing that causes the thing, and or the only thing that causes the thing. And so today we are going to explore what it looks like to kick ourselves off of that linear path and start to think a little bit more non-linearly. That's actually a pretty difficult word to say. While my tongue recovers, let's learn a little bit about Perry, who's joining us in the conversation today. And I mean, when I had a conversation with you, Perry, there was absolutely no linearness to it whatsoever. And I think that's one of the things that opens the door to possibility and opportunities that maybe we are missing in marketing. So can you tell us a little bit more about you? If you want to talk about Dr. Octopus or the Octopus Movement, you can share that as well. I'm sure it will come up as part of the conversation. But why, I'm going to say it again, and then my tongue will have to recover again. Why non-linearity? Well, I don't know. Got it wrong.
Non-linearity.
Yeah, that's one.
Right? Is that
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if it's actually a word, but we're going to make it one.
I think it's a word. I need to write it down. Let's figure it out. Let's put it in the dictionary.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Let's make it into a word. Can I swear?
Yes, you can.
I can.
The show is flagged as not for kids.
Oh, it's not for kids, so I can be myself.
Yes,
That's
please
nice.
be yourself. Authenticity is key on the show.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You like
go
that?
Go to town.
So what was the question again? What's linearity? Or oh no, who am I?
Who are you?
Oh, I hate that question. A lot of people hate that question. Who am I? I'm 50. Who cares? I'm in the Netherlands. That's fun because that makes sense why I have an accent like I have.
And why this show is so early today.
And why the show is so early? Because it's already 4:00 in my time, in my space.
Yeah.
Who am I? I'm Dr. Octopus. I love that. That's why is he saying Dr. Octopus? Is he a villain? So all your laws of thought, you're thinking immediately, who is this white dude with a beard who calls himself Dr. Octopus? You already have an idea, right? And you're already thinking about Spider-Man and whatnot. No, Dr. Octopus is because I've created the Octopus Movement, which is a global movement of non-linear thinkers. That means human intelligence, creating possibility together. And as a symbol, we have the octopus. Why? Why? Because it's the perfect symbol. It has 8 arms, um, 3 hearts, 9 brains. It can adjust itself into anything. It's very adaptable. It's very intelligent. And the best part is this: it removed its shell a long time ago, knowing that that would be a difficulty and a problem, but knowing as well that the adaptability would be so much better. I find that fascinating. This is nonlinear thinking that I got into this symbol. I can explain later, otherwise I'm talking too much already in the beginning. But that's a little bit who I am. I'm a nonlinear thinker. That means all kinds of stuff. I don't even know what it actually means, but I love creativity. I love finding new angles. I love seeing things from a different perspective. I love to see possibilities, even when everybody thinks that there is not a possibility anymore. I think that's who I am, more or less, in a nutshell, Tracy.
Ugh.
What do you think?
Well, yes. First of all, like this is why I loved our original conversation and was like, I want to bring this concept because there's also a intangibility that exists. And I know when we're in like business, we're trying to deliver sales and all these types of things, we want to look for the tangible result. And yeah, at the end of the day, if we're not making money, then businesses are going out of business and we need to sell things. But we so often think that that tangible thing comes from a bunch of tangible things that added up to that tangible thing instead of the intangible things that contribute. And we ignore the intangibles and the things we can't define, I think, to our detriment. And so even when we look at, like, as you were describing this, I was thinking about a box, a three-dimensional box. It has sides. It's imaginary, but it has 3 sides. There's space in the middle of it. And pretty consistently, people are being asked to think outside the box.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um,
I have an opinion about that, but
let's
continue.
hear it. Well,
Yes.
I want to explore this because we're like, okay, we want you to live in this box, and here's all your rules, and here's all your funnels, and all of these things that we've designed that are linear, that are controlling, that are keeping you in the box. But then we also want you to think outside the box.
Yeah.
And I feel like that environment that we've created within the box is maybe not super conducive to thinking outside the box.
Like asking your employees to have an entrepreneurial mindset is also
Yes.
very interesting, right? It's the same thing of thinking outside of the box, where you are in your company very much inside of the box because that's easier to manage. That's fine, right? And it's how we designed our whole educational system, that we box things off. Then we have math, then we have biology, then we have English. This is the program, this is the curriculum, and this is how you behave. And otherwise it's becoming a mess, right? And then we need to get out of that boxed thing and be creative. And I think I want to say something about creativity, because when we talk about creativity, a lot of people talk about innovation as well, but innovation is, for me, based on knowledge. So this mic is awesome. It's one of the best, and it's doing a very good job. So if we want to innovate this mic and make it better, then we use everything we know, the knowledge around this mic, the materials and how it's designed, and we innovate. We make it better, right?
Mhm.
That's not creativity. This you can do inside of the box. The box is the mic. The design is in the box. The elements are in boxes. It's fine. Now we want to create something that is eventually a microphone, but we don't know it's a microphone yet. That's creativity, right? It's new. It's art. It's not based on knowledge. It's something else. I love Mark Rothko. Do you know that painter?
Yes.
Fucking awesome. It's you're in front of his painting and some people start crying. I'm not overdoing it. It's really true. So the guy paints and you start crying. Why? You have no idea. So now, so many people know Rothko, and now someone else can paint like Rothko and use these colors and the same thing, and it's a Rothko. But before he did that, there was no Rothko,
Right.
right? There was so it's a new creation out of nowhere. It's not innovation. So thinking outside of the box is bullshit because that's innovation. You're thinking outside of the box, meaning let's behave all in the same way and let's leave the box behind, right, John? And leave the box behind, come up with something new, but you're always conditioned. So it's such a contradiction. And there's final thing I want to say about that. Oh, I always want to say so many things. The thinking hats of Edward de Bono. The guy is celebrated. Oh, it's such a creative mind, and it's lateral thinking. So a lot of people confuse nonlinear thinking with lateral thinking. Lateral thinking is as linear as you can go. It's incredible. What do? You need creative thinking. You put on a hat of the creative thinker. Now you need to look at numbers and you need an accountant, then you use the hat of an accountant. Criticism, positiveness, it's all boxed, it's all in line. Now, when I look at Tracy's LinkedIn profile, if you've never done that, read that. Tracy is very nonlinear. She's all over the place. Tracy is not boxed. Tracy is also therefore very interested in marketing because, in a way, marketing is very creative. Yet we've turned it into such a linear, boxed, thinking head de Bono kind of way of working, which is interesting, which is fine. But hey, in today's world where we've created the most ultimate, awesome, pleasureness solution of thinking in boxes called AI, we need something else as well. That's nonlinear thinking.
Well, and I always think it's specifically interesting to me in marketing because I agree with you that this is what now marketing has a business rule. So it needs to perform in this, and here's its box, and here's how you do the things that add up to the box, which again, most people are not seeing add up to the box, but we keep doing the things because we've been told that those things add up to the box, and we just need to do more of them. And now AI has made it possible, and automation made it possible for us to do more of the things that aren't adding up. And it's like, thank you, Darren. Tracy's thinkings are chaotic in the bestest of ways.
Exactly.
Yes. I had a friend of mine describe me as a tornado of creation. And I was like, nobody has ever described me so accurately ever before. This is perfect. And I've stuck with it. It's so accurate. But in marketing, we actually take people. So most of the types of people who choose marketing as a career trajectory are by nature very nonlinear. Maybe we want to call them chaotic thinkers, right? They want to be creative and then get into this industry that then takes that creativity. And then it's like, but no, I don't actually want you to do that. I want you to send emails once a week.
And it depends, Tracy. I've seen a marketing department of a very huge American company. And I'm wondering if these marketeers are very nonlinear, if they always wanted to be in the field of creativity, or if they just want to have a badass job with a company that everybody knows because the brand is super cool, and where they can say at a party, well, I'm the brand manager of blah, blah, blah brand that everybody's eating at least once a week.
Right.
And then I see what they do, and it's managing Excel sheets, right?
Yeah.
And it's looking at data sheets and whatnot. It's nothing to do with creativity and marketing. And then they go to an advertisement agency to go for their creativity, and they're also pretty linear. I don't want to be messing up a lot of feelings and thoughts with people today, but where's the true creativity, right? Where's the real creative force at
Yeah.
companies?
Well, and I think there's an interesting thing there is that what is the marketing team? Like, what is your marketing department supposed to do? Is it supposed to just, and again, as companies grow, then we have a certain amount of tasks that need to get done. I still think a very high percentage of them are crazy and stupid, but this is why the show exists. So we hire more people to do the things, and we get people who are just managing CRMs, right? CRM manager. You're like, what? That is not creative. I mean, it could be creative, because if you're like, okay, well, we have this data, and like, what can we do with this data? Or are we, can we access it easily? Is the sales team wanting to use it? It's blah, blah, blah. There's opportunities to like, I think to me, this is turning into like curiosity and questioning instead of just doing as well. And so, Perry, what are your thoughts if we're talking about non-linearity? Which will be a word by the end of the show.
Non-linearity.
What role does being curious play in that?
Are you serious?
100% of the role?
Okay. Yeah, but Jesus, it's what is okay? Non-linearity. You open up to everything. You embrace the chaos. You abandon the illusion of choice. You celebrate uniqueness. You change your reality. It all has to do with curiosity. Totally. And when I look into the Octopus Movement and the people in the movement, they're all super curious. And they're also not just curious for themselves, but they're also very curious in the bigger picture. And I love that. So you have curiosity in, how can I make more money? But that's not the curiosity I mean. It's the curiosity of thinking about your thoughts and thinking about what you see in the world and what that means. It's a deeper curiosity that is very much linked to nonlinear thinking. And I can explain why some people are very comfortable in nonlinearity and why some people are not. But I saw a message from John, and I wanted to quickly dive
there's
into
some
that.
good stuff in the comments. So
Yes, go to the comments, people.
Yeah.
So can AI go nonlinear? And that's a very good question. And I think yes and no. It all depends how you look at it, right? If you say to AI, give me a random number, then AI is programmed to give you an answer based on give me a random number. But when I say, Tracy, what are you thinking of now? Say it.
27.
Right? It's a game I do with my daughter in the car when I bring her to school. What are you thinking of? Cow. Like, where is that coming from? That's random, and only human intelligence can do that. If I say to AI, give me a random word, it gives me a random word, but it's not random because there's a linear thinking behind it. What to say when you say to your AI, give me a random number or random word.
Right.
Do that when you're chatting with your ChatGPT or your Claude or whatever you want to call him. Ask, give me a random number, and then it will give that, and then say to your AI, how did you get this random number? So, but I think with AI, the cool thing with AI is that you can ask so many things at the same time that it can fire so many things to you, and then you use your human intelligence to create something with that. So is AI nonlinear? I don't think so, but I'm not necessarily saying no, right? Because it all depends on how you look at that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I wanted to answer that quickly because I thought it was such a good question. What did you just ask me, Tracy? Oh, I forgot.
Well, we were talking about curiosity and
Yes.
as a critical component to
Oh, and the
non-linear
curiosity
thinking.
and why some people are very nonlinear. So why nonlinearity exists with people and why do some people don't have. I have I have these research papers of the Institute of Economic Affairs that did research into nonlinear management. So cool. And they discovered something very interesting. If you are weird, and we can use this word in this show, right?
Yes.
If you're weird, what happens when you're weird? You're at school, you're tiny little Perry, and you're thinking, gosh, I'm weird. And what's wrong with me is the big question mark, right? What's wrong? And everybody listening to this show, I know Mick has asked herself that. I know John has asked himself that. And, what's wrong with me? But that question is not trauma for sure. That question is super powerful. If you're constantly asking yourself what's wrong with me and at a low age and you're just a child at school, you're having a curious conversation with your thinking, with your mind. So you're exploring your mind by the question, what's wrong with me? Now imagine there are some kids who are designed to be in this structure and this system of the world. I have a very good friend, and he always says to me, Perry, the system is made for me. Then he's driving up with his new electric Porsche, and everything is going so easy, lots of money and success, and everybody wants to work with him. And he says, the system is designed for me. He never wonders what's wrong with me. Why would he? The opposite happens with people like that. They hold on to the linearity. They want things to stay the same because it works.
Right.
And they never ask themselves, what's wrong with me? So if something changes, they freak out. It's very scary. And us weirdos, we have had so many different conversations with ourselves. What's wrong with me? All kinds of scenarios have crossed our minds. We have seen everything already. And then COVID hits. Who cares? We find a solution to do things differently. We cannot go to our clients anymore. The product is not selling. Oh, flip it. Let's create a workaround. We don't care. We love chaos. We see things differently. And the tight underwear, linear thinkers, sorry, and like, oh, fuck, you know, is it gonna be the same next week? Oh my God, my kids are at home and they should be at school. It's horrible. That's where it's coming from. They cannot have chaos in their minds, and that's why they're so linear.
Well, and that's an interesting point, though, because it speaks to the fact that the skill comes from practice, right? Because we have practiced so often questioning our own thoughts, we have a skill of questioning our thoughts, and we know that there is possibility to move from one state to another state, and we have the practice of that. And so we don't actually need a linear path because we know there's a path. Right? Like, if I gotta take my machete and hit through the woods, I can do that. It's fine, right? Like, okay, the path is nice if I'm not wearing any shoes and I want to like easily get to the beach. But like, I also know the beach is right over there, so I can just like get there. My son calls them adventure paths, and it's like my favorite thing because when we're out in the mountains, he's always like, "What do you think is down there?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Let's go see." And he's like, "We're on the adventure path." And I don't know, there's a lot of times where we get to dead ends or it's like too dense for us to like go through, or like one time we actually found like a big group of deer and we're like, we're just gonna not disturb them and like go back the other way. But like that, it's a practice. And whereas I think a lot of times too, we can get programmed into the idea that like, oh, well, I've done all this like linear thinking for a very long time, so that must be the only thing I can do. Right? I can only do linear, and it might feel uncomfortable to do nonlinear, but it is a skill. Is that something you would agree with?
And we all have it in ourselves. Like it doesn't exist. The nonlinear thinker. It's a human. It's a human being, and some of them are more nonlinear than the others. But we recognize this all together. Like you're under the shower. You're having a shower in the morning. La la la. Shampoo, smell, scent, nice, whatever. And then all of a sudden, I should send that email. I forgot to send that email. It's coming out of nowhere, right? Or all of a sudden, no, it needs to be this color. I have it all wrong. You're not even thinking about it. It just pops up. It just enters. There's this little book. What is it? Blink. Malcolm Gladwell. I don't know. We've read it, but it's a lot of people read it. It's it's the artifact that looked fresh. I love that story in the beginning. It's Egypt. This museum bought a very expensive artifact and they did x-rays and everything. And I was an intern and the girl saw the artifact for the first time. Everybody was excited. Oh, we found it. This is it. Paid millions for it. The intern came in and said, "Wow, that looks fresh." You know, and it was a fake indeed. And how could you judge that it was fresh? It's the gut, it's the human intelligence, it's the nonlinear thinking. And everybody has that. And it's very powerful. But boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, at the marketing department of the company, we're constantly going into that linear way of working. And I'm not against that. Not at all, because this is how we manage things. And trust me, that works well. But if you want to grow, if you want to achieve something, if you want to go somewhere, you need some different thinking from time to time. And
Yeah.
just stepping out of the box doesn't do it.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting here too, because I think a lot of people get that, right? They're like, oh, we've been doing these things and these things are not working. So we need to do different things. But we also don't have the practice then of the nonlinear thinking to figure out what are some different things that we can try. And then we're like, well, I don't know. So I guess we'll just keep doing the old things. So we're doing something because it's better than doing nothing.
Yeah. And don't hire the weird ones, right? It's
Right.
I see that sometimes as well. We need different thinking. So now all of a sudden, this person comes into the company with purple hair and different shoes, and the right shoe and the left shoe is different, and it's one theater of differentness, which I also have a feeling of that's very linear into non-linearity. Everything needs to be different in order to be different. And it's not, because then it becomes like a freak show, and that's not it. We all have it in ourselves, that nonlinear thinking. Maybe it's just quiet down the brain and trust your gut feeling. And maybe we know that we should do this differently into marketing and have an advertisement this way. You can't explain why, but maybe you should just do it, even if you can't explain why, or even when it goes against the rules, the set of rules that you've always been using. Maybe that's weird, stupid marketing. That is interesting.
Well, we don't want stupid, but I love this weird. Weird is coming in somewhere on the
Weird.
We'll replace crazy with weird because they sound the same but are not the same, and we'll find another thing to replace stupid with. I think this is so important because there's also an individual factor I feel that's important here in so I don't know how many people you've experienced. I mean, you experience a lot of people, Perry, but like when I see people who are like, this is how I would be, but this is my work environment. So I can't be like that in this work environment. And you're like, oh, potentially that is a misunderstanding. And one of the reasons why you were chosen for this job is because you have the ability to see things like that. And I have an experience recently where a teammate of mine had this fantastic question. We were on a conversation with an external party, and she messaged me behind the scenes like, what about this? And I was like, that's a great question. You should ask it. And she was like, you should ask it. And I was like, I mean, it's a good question, and I want the question to get asked, but it's actually not my question. And I don't really want this other person to think it's my question. I want them to think that we are a team and you think of different questions than I think. And that's super powerful. So I didn't actually ask the question. And I said to her, I was like, I want you to send a follow-up email with that question in it. Because it's a good question. And I want them to know it's your question.
Yeah.
And I think there is, having a supportive team that can allow you to step into that for the first time can be really important. But at the same time, I think there's more opportunity for us to give ourselves credit and say hey, it's actually our weirdness that got me this job. Unless you showed up completely unweird in the interview process and now have to try and maintain not being weird, which is very difficult also, by the way. We have team weird on here today.
Team weird one. I I think it's a very good time to be alive. I think things are changing. I think different thinking is very useful. Being weird, whatever that may be. Maybe weird is having a neurodivergent mind and not fitting in the box. What is weird, you know? But um, it's been celebrated now. It is different now than it was 5 years ago, and
Mhm.
there is becoming more and more awareness that different thinkers are very much necessary within an organization to do things well. And I think these are happy time for us weird individuals, right? Because the non-weird solution, that could be AI, right? So that's then you don't need
Mm.
to have human intelligence. And by the way, Leslie is asking a question. Aren't we
Yes.
actually winding down our mind, Perry, rather than winding down our brain? Did I say we're winding down our brain?
I don't remember that,
Me
but I don't
neither.
remember everything that
So
we say.
meaning, yes, we're winding down our mind. Quiet the mind, uh, create some space between thoughts. That's what I always love to say. Where is the nonlinear thinking? Where is the creativity? Where is the gut feeling? It's between the thoughts.
Mhm.
And if you don't know where to go, if you don't know how to go there, it is possible. It is, and there's a very simple exercise. It's quiet down, relax a little bit, and then be very aware of your thoughts. And then at some point, ask your brain, your mind, whatever, what is the next thought? And when you do that, you get a blue screen for 2 nanoseconds. Your brain is like, what? And then you will start thinking that's a weird question, or it gives you an answer. But in many occasions, there is some space that is created that your mind is saying that's a weird question, and that's the space between thoughts. And if you can train yourself to go there, that really creates some possibility power with your nonlinear thinking.
Yeah. Well, I think it's funny because that's like what's on my LinkedIn banner, right? But like insights happen between two
Yeah, I saw that. I was
voices.
like, yeah, I like that.
And it's in the world where we're like constantly trying to deliver something, right?
Mhm.
Like productivity and efficiency and effectiveness and all of these things are huge measures of our value as humans, then we forget about the space between. But also, I love what you said about like the space between can be nanoseconds, right? The
Yes.
space between doesn't have to be like 8 hours. No human
I
can put
hope
eight
not.
hours
You're
between two
dead.
shots. I was gonna say you're dead. That's the only way that can happen. So like these are happening like pretty instantaneously. But I think the other important piece of that is to notice and the intentionality of creating space and not just like rushing to the next thing. And I've seen this happen even in like I've seen it happen in marketing teams. I've seen it happen in like strategic planning where we're like, oh no, we need to hit this amount of revenue by this day. What are the 3 things we can do? Go. And you're like, ugh. And because you panic, and then that goes back to what we were talking about earlier, where like you just say what you have always said because that is what you know, and you didn't have the space to think about a different answer. And if we're always rushing, then that's going to also what we miss in that is if we're always rushing, that becomes our practice, and our practice becomes our behavior. And then it becomes a default behavior to the point where we don't even understand why this is happening still. Why do we get to every quarter and create quarterly goals and never reach our goals? What's up with that? But we need to like take time to be like, whoa, like, because we keep doing the same thing. What is the same thing? We need to take a minute to explore what is the behavior that we don't want to do anymore, and how do we recreate activities that create the new behavior. And if the new
Exactly.
behavior is nonlinear thinking, then like slamming your time filled with linear thinking isn't going to generate nonlinear thinking.
And the solution is also, it's not black. Life is not black and white, right? It's
Right.
not, oh, now we need to be nonlinear. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, use some of the nonlinearity sometimes, because now it's 100% in linear framing. It's
Right.
100% in a linear structure most of the time. So it's not or this or that. It's also nonlinear thinking is also not the opposite of linear thinking. You may think so, but that's not the thing, and it's linear to think that. And I don't want to be woo-woo here. And the solution is also not to be 8 hours between thoughts and be all in a meditative state. We're setting our goals. Come back next week.
Right.
That's not what I'm saying. It's fascinating. And it's also, I think, Tracy, it also has to do with the nonlinear thinking as also the connection between humans. So our connection is very nonlinear. Here we are, I'm looking at my screen of my laptop, and I still have a feeling that I'm close to you and that I can really see you and hear you. It's that nonlinear thinking that also creates the connection between humans, which is so important also within the organization, within the corporation, in brand building. You're doing it as a team. You can set up a team in a linear way. You can also look at things more linearity in the connection between humans. That is fascinating. And that makes things differently.
Yeah.
Different.
Well, and I mean, the phrase I usually use is mosaic, right? It's a mosaic. Things are happening. It's kind of like the octopus, right? Different things are happening in different directions at different times. And this is what the human experience is. To pretend it's not, to pretend that the only piece of my human experience is me driving my car down a straight road. Not to say I'm not going to drive my car down a straight road, because sometimes I am going to drive my car down a straight road.
I hope so.
Yeah. But then sometimes I'm going to go around a corner because I'm going to crash into something if I keep driving my car straight. It reminds me, there's this episode of The Office, the American version, where he's just like, Michael Scott is following the GPS, and the GPS says turn right. So he does, into a lake.
Yeah. That actually happened in the beginning of GPS. You remember that?
Yes. And so you're like, it can help you, but you still have to use your human judgment, people. Like, come on. When we take our hands completely off the wheel of this is what I would do, or this is what a human would do, this is how human relationships get built, all of these things, we say, no, we can just go down this linear path, and that would be easier. It would be easier if we could just go down a linear path and have date number 1 and get them flowers, and have date number 2 and get them chocolate, and then get married.
You're missing a few steps in between, but okay, Tracy, it's okay.
The point is, the linearity doesn't exist in that scenario either, and it doesn't exist in anywhere. And so we can also look at, and I get it, right? Like, you got a big company, you got to manage things, you got to manage, like, payroll is a great example, right? Like, you want to make sure you pay people on time. Here's the things we're going to do to make sure that we pay people on time. Great. I don't think anyone is complaining.
Structure.
Right.
And, don't mess that up. Don't create chaos in your accounting department.
In payroll.
Please, or in payroll.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Yeah.
But this is for example, if you had an issue in your accounting department that was like, well, we're chasing people for payments. We're always chasing people for payments. And then we're like, okay, well, we'll just create a structure for that. We'll create a credit management team, and they'll be the ones who chase people for payments, right? But that doesn't actually solve the problem of why you're chasing people for payments. And so, yes, there's an opportunity to create linear functionality, which isn't necessarily bad. And there's also possibility for some nonlinear thinking to create some new potential idea. Maybe this comes back to our brand experience. We're like, what about this whole relationship with us is making them not want to pay their bills?
Maybe something else is going on and nobody wants to talk about it.
Right.
But you can sense that there's something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That requires a little bit of nonlinear thinking to address that. If you go to that with your linear mind that needs to check the box, then there's a probability that you're not able to find the real reason what's going on.
Right.
I think.
Yeah. So good. Okay. I have one more question, but Leslie has one more question. So we're going to go to that first. Are we really going anywhere? Are we not in constant presence? I feel like we're not in constant presence at all. I feel like we're very rarely present to what's going on in the
It's
moment.
a good question. Are we going anywhere? Yeah, I don't know. Do we?
Oh, I
Something is
think
moving.
there's an important piece of the puzzle here, which is like the assumed destination. Right?
Oh, yeah,
So if we're talking about like
yeah.
going somewhere, like I went to Montreal last week, right? Like I was going to Montreal. So I went to the airport and I caught a plane that flew me to Montreal and yep, I went somewhere. But there's a lot of times when even in like let's use a like pretty basic marketing example, right? Like we want 60% of our leads to convert to sales. Okay,
Yeah.
the destination, we have set that destination.
It's a clear goal, people.
But are we going anywhere towards that destination?
And I also think when you set such a clear linear goal, there's a kind of self-hypnosis that that goal is the holy grail. If we do this, then we have done a good job. But what if along the way other things appear to be more important? Or it's not 60%, but you're able to solve or you converse this into 73%, right? But you have to change a few things. I think we can be I see that a lot on LinkedIn as well, people taking posts. You need to focus. If you do one thing well, you will get there. I don't disagree with that. But if that's the only thing, it's for me it's self-hypnosis, that single point of focus. Then that's the only thing there is. And maybe you're missing out on something. I'm not saying you're missing out on something. I'm saying maybe. And
Well,
Tracy,
and I would actually say that you are, and focus always does that, right? Because even if we look at how many thoughts we consciously process versus how many thoughts we unconsciously or subconsciously process, like there's always missing stuff. We're right now we're missing stuff, right? Like I'm
yeah,
missing stuff. Like you're like, did I say that? I'm like, I don't even remember.
yeah.
Right? Like we miss
Did I
stuff.
say that about my brain? I meant my mind. Why did I say that? Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry,
Well, and
Leslie.
the point is that like when you're attuned to something, so Leslie is specifically attuned to that, so that's what she hears, and she doesn't miss that, right? And all of us can't be. We're not all infinitely attuned, right? We can't
No,
tune into every
I
radio
hope not.
station at the same
Yeah,
time. That would
no,
talk about chaos, right?
yeah.
Like we'd go mad. So our brains can't actually handle that. We're always focused on something. And I think what is interesting then is like, how do we pivot the focus? How do we become observant or receiving enough to understand like, okay, I love my 90s and now radio station, but I know there are other radio stations, and sometimes I'm not getting what I want from this radio station, so I change the channel.
Yeah.
And we can do that very readily with, I mean, I still listen to the radio. I don't know if everybody else listens to the radio as much. I just appreciate its staying power. And so I support it.
I love the radio. I would love to be a radio maker, a show. How do you say that? A host on a
Radio show host.
Radio show host.
Maybe we should talk
So
about this.
cool. It is so cool. I love it.
I know. I feel like that's just a fun job too, especially morning shows. Those guys just feel like they have a lot of fun. But like we get that. And so this is now saying like, okay, well, what if my marketing KPIs are one radio station? And like sometimes I want to listen to that radio station, but sometimes that radio station sucks. And I want to listen to something else. And understanding the concept of that, I have a tuning dial and I can change it when I'm not getting what I need from this radio station, whether that's in your personal life, in your relationships, in your business life, in your marketing, regardless, that I have the permission to do that. And I also have the permission to switch it back, right? Like I can go back and forth and that's okay. I think that is like a first step in permission into the nonlinear thinking too, that says like, hey, you can come back to this. That's fine.
Hey, we're back to curiosity, right? How interesting is it if you're always listening to the same radio channel? How cool is it to listen to something else? Or It's the same when you go into a bookstore. I love bookstores, and then you see the books that are on sale. You know them. You've read about them. How cool is it to buy a book that is the most less appealing book to you that you can find in the bookstore, and buy that book, and see what happens when you read that.
This is
That's
what I
nice
love
and a good
about book
idea.
clubs, by the way, because like book clubs, I was in a work book club like years ago. And so we just all took turns picking books. And I read so many books I never would have chosen.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, and some of them sucked, but some of them were really good. Like there's one that just is like, it's like deep in my soul now, my experience of it. And
Which book is that?
I think it's just called Ruby. Does that
Ruby?
sound right?
I don't
It
know.
was like an Oprah book club thing, and I had never read anything off of Oprah's book club list because they sounded like books that I wouldn't. I like a good murder mystery. um, but I was like, it's so crazy how it's like so much of that book just like I felt it deep in
Isn't
my
that
body.
cool?
And I was like, I can't, like, even if I wanted to, I can't. There's some like kind of disturbing things in it. And I'm like, I can't erase it. I can't erase it from my psyche. It's like a permanent component. And I never would have had that experience if someone random picked a random book. And then it's also interesting to even look about like my relationship that I have with that person, because I'm like, wow, you picked that, and that has meant like so much to my life.
Oh
and
yeah,
that
that
like
does something as well, right?
yeah, like
Yeah.
these are the non-linear components
Mm.
that we don't
If you like this
think about.
book, that makes
Yeah,
you interesting.
yeah, yeah.
And
Or like depth,
Tracy,
right? Yeah.
talking about books
Yes.
and talking about marketing,
Yes.
I want to use this opportunity to use some marketing to present my book. Oh, it's mirrored now or not? Is it
Oh
only
no,
mirrored
I
for
see
me?
it straight. Yeah, it's only
Oh, you
mirrored
see
for
it
you.
straight.
I
So
learned this recently about the mirror.
I'm like, what does it say? It's Russian. No, Octopus Leadership. It's my new book, and I'm so happy with this. It's not a leadership management book, so don't freak out, people. This is a philosophical essay on the art of leadership, and it is about the space between thoughts, the shape of softness, the beauty against force, the future beneath us. It's everything, and it's very philosophical, and it triggers a lot of thinking. Um, I'm very proud of it. It's
So
such a
I will
nice.
buy it.
Yes, please. Go
I
to
love. Oh, first
Octopus
of all, it's
Leadership.
pink and it matches my headphones.
It's pink. How cool is that? Pink, and it feels good. And
Yeah.
so you can go to octopusleadership.store and you get onto the website of this book, and then you can order the book and have fun with it.
And before we go, first of all, I want to like Leslie had so many. Please, if you're watching this, go back and read the comments, because I didn't even
Yes.
come close to touching on like half of the amazing comments you guys sent in today.
So
and I
who's
apologize,
Leslie?
but we've run out
you,
of time.
Do you know Leslie personally?
Well, I LinkedIn know Leslie. I LinkedIn know a lot of people. We're not always close enough to meet in person, which is like one of my life goals, to travel to all of the countries. So and like in the US, all of the states, so I can meet all of the amazing people that I have met on LinkedIn.
Right. Yeah.
But I love, first of all, I love how much people will come and share of their expertise on someone else's show, right? Like there's so many places where people are like, I have my own show and I'm a thought leader and I do this here, and like people come, this is where I do my thing. But it's so amazing to see, and like so many of you did it today, Leslie and John and Mick and David and like and Chase and Darren, right? Like you guys shared some like really meaningful thoughts in this space today, and it makes the conversation more robust. I mean, you could see we were reading the comments even if we didn't have like all of them coming over. This is nonlinear thinking, right? We came here together and we were like, oh, this triggered in me and I'm going to say this, and then this triggered this, and like that ecosystem of thoughts can create so much power. And I just want to appreciate everyone for sharing.
And a big appreciation to Mick. Mick is a huge support. Mick is a founding member of the Octopus Movement. We have now 175 founding members in the Octopus Movement. We will stop at 250. with these founding members, not everybody knows this already, but we're building a monument on nonlinear thinking. It's not a sculpture, it's a huge building which brings everything together. And we do that together with all the founding members of the Octopus Movement. Mick is one of the founding members. It's the inner family that hangs out once a month together, and it always feels like it's Sunday evening and the whole family's coming back to the dinner table and everybody's sharing everything, and it's a mess, and people are laughing and having a good time, and then everybody leaves again. That's within the Octopus Movement. And if people are interested to find out what the Octopus Movement is, it's theoctopusmovement.org, because it's a nonprofit and we're everywhere, and we have 11,000 members plus in 138 countries. So we're close to everyone, and we do a lot of in real life meeting each other. We love that. It's so much fun. If you meet another nonlinear thinker, it becomes a good friend immediately. And that's awesome, to have a conversation with coffee and there's instant chaos and also understanding and creativity and everything at the same time. I love that. So in real life, yeah, I love in real life. Yes.
Me too. As much as it is wonderful that technology has allowed people who are so far away from each other to build meaningful relationships as well, there really isn't anything quite like in person.
Yes.
Oh, and I'm just going to share Mick's last comment here. It's always wonderful to just sit back as a fly on the wall and watch the magic happen in a room where you hold space for nonlinear people to come together and just be themselves. And I think this is another great reminder as we wrap up the conversation today, is that we all have the opportunity to create the space for that. And it doesn't necessarily have to be me coming up with the answers of things. But if I create the space, it is like pretty phenomenal what can happen in some of those spaces. And I highly recommend it. Oh, Perry, I have to go take my son to his language arts exam, so I have to leave on time today. But this was such a wonderful conversation.
I need to call the organization of dictionaries to ask around about the word nonlinearity, to put that into the dictionary.
Get it in there. It's better than stupid 6-7, which apparently made it into the dictionary.
6-7. Oh my God, are you doing a 6-7 to me now?
We're not doing, well, it's just, there's so much. Let's put real words in the dictionary. How about that was my last nonlinear thought for today. Perry, thank you so much to everyone who joined us in the comments. Thank you so much for your investment in the conversation today, both in time and in thoughts. Get Octopus leadership. Join the Octopus movement. I'm going to. I haven't yet, and I'm going to. And I look forward to being surrounded by all of you nonlinear thinkers who are out there solving the world's problems. And until next time, permission to do you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.